Hey everyone, welcome back to the Adobe Live Vodcast. My name is Emily Poulin. I'm your host, and with me co-hosting today is freelancer, wonderful graphic designer Maggie Johnson, and with us all the way from the UK is Ben Kaluza. Super excited that the two of you are here with us today. We are going to be having a conversation about AI, the changing landscape of AI, and your creative career, Ben. Is that correct, or is there anything I'm missing here?
No, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I think, through my journey and then AI landscape and
Just a few big topics to cover.
whatever.
Really
Just
small,
I'm
you
happy for you
know.
to just chuck questions at me.
Yeah.
You know. I live stream quite a lot anyway, so
Yeah,
just
this is like what you were made to do.
Q&A, just all sorts coming at me. So
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So
I
you were
don't-
ready and dialed in.
yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah, can be live streaming is interesting. It's fun, but also like just this unknown of
Yeah.
what's coming in from the chat. But that's the beauty of it, is that's why
Yeah.
people like it. It's just dynamic.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of,
Yes.
we are live on YouTube and Behance. And so if you're hanging out with us in chat, we're so glad that you're here. We would love for you to be a part. Maggie is going to be keeping an eye, right, Maggie,
I
on
sure am.
all things chat related. So if you have any questions for the Adobe Live community and Ben specifically, feel free to drop those in the chat and we will be monitoring that, or Maggie will be monitoring that as we go. And we would just love for you to be a part of this conversation. So make sure you tune in and be active in the chat. So, Ben, to kick us off, we would love to hear more about you, who you are for people who may not be familiar with your
Sure.
work. So if you want to give us like the full bird's eye view of who you are.
My whole story.
Yeah, I mean, start wherever you want.
I've
I
have
have
a-
two.
I have
2
a-
years old.
Yeah. I start so I'm live in London at the moment. Full-time creator. Just started a business as well, like a content studio. Just trying to build some, I guess, financial stability long term. Every creator has a life cycle, I feel.
Yeah.
One day I might not want to be on camera. One day my AI avatar might be the person who's on camera anyway, and that whole space is getting really saturated. I started creating content about 6 years ago in a fitness space. I was training for an Ironman. It's
Wow.
like a long distance
yeah.
triathlon.
Yeah.
This was at a time where the content influencer space, I think, was heavily dominated by IG, like fitness models, both guys and girls.
We know
like,
it well, I feel like.
People didn't like them because it was like, oh, these people growing to fame, making
Yeah.
lots of money. Like,
Mhm.
who are they? Fast forward to today, actually, being a fitness influencer actually is quite desirable by a lot of people, which is funny because I did it at a time where it was like people, I think, well, oh, you want to be an influencer? I said, no, I just want to create content. Like my corporate job, I hated the second week in out of university. So not the job itself.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but my manager was great. Right?
Yes, however.
Yeah, like just the whole like corporate, like I'm trapped.
It's a
trapped.
lifestyle.
I
It's a lifestyle for
didn't like it, and so I was in ad operations. So
Oh, wow.
not the funnest of thing in the world. There's not much creativity in ad operations.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just exploring things in my spare time that I guess I could be creative with. And then I was doing fitness, sort of edutainment. I would do like funny just fitness challenges and stuff like that. Just trying to have fun and be a bit different than the stereotypical like gym bro persona, 6-pack out. I was just doing cardio challenges that were just pretty wild. And then I sort of was doing YouTube productivity stuff, did about 50, 60 videos there, didn't really work. Then I joined Twitch in my job. I moved from an ad operations role into Twitch, my dream company, one of my dream companies to work for. I was already a gamer. And they have an office here in San Fran as well. Their headquarters are here. I was in the London office.
You worked for Twitch?
Yeah, for Twitch.
Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
Twitch employee. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
very
that's
proud of
very
that
cool.
status.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We actually
Yeah.
stream on Twitch. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
aware of that, but maybe we should do a full
I
360
mean,
and come
wait
back
a
on Twitch, I
minute.
think.
If you need to connect,
We might. All right.
I know some people. Yeah, no, I was very proud of my Twitch employee status
Yeah.
because
Iconic, yeah.
it's just cool. Even though obviously it's owned by Amazon, but that in itself was really interesting because I got to understand what like a big corporate organization, how it runs and operates
Yeah.
internally, like process wise. As much as I don't like processes, I could see the value in having like really wide scale process-driven business that like helps scale it and makes it one of the biggest companies in the world. We didn't like that at Twitch because they were starting to make us do more processes and get rid of this startup-y culture vibe that Twitch had kept for quite a long period of time. And I started like streaming on Twitch. I thought, how hard could it be? The funny thing is I got access to sort of like the back end data of streamers. Let's just say like the Twitch dashboard, right?
Yeah.
That gives you all of your numbers, right? You know what.
You knew the inside
you know
and
what
the
sort,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah.
The numbers with the dollar signs on, and I could see who was earning what, and it kind of opened my eyes up to how much people were earning. And I was like, how difficult could it be? You know, just game and just make loads of money. I was just very naive to think that streaming is easy, and also streaming is easy to grow. Like streaming is really hard to grow in. Twitch, there's no discoverability. You have to drive people in through another funnel, usually TikTok, YouTube, and it's just very competitive. You know, everybody wants to be a streamer these days. All the kids do, because I mean, the biggest content creators,
Yeah.
the biggest content creators today are quote unquote streamers. You know,
Yeah.
Kai Cenat, Speed,
Yep.
XQC, all of these like mega streamers are driving the younger generation to want to be streamers. Whenever one of them comes to me and said, "Hey Ben, I want to start streaming," I said, "Don't." I'm just like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Because you get yourself in a hole of like streaming because it's fun, and then you just like are not creating content. You're not building presence on other platforms. But like people just want to take, I guess, the easy route of just going live.
And then hoping people show up.
Yes, and then people don't show up, and then you wonder why. Well, this, you know, where's your TikTok content, YouTube content? I realized that I got lucky after about 4 weeks, one of my TikToks went viral.
Oh, no.
So I went from streaming to 2 people to 90 overnight, which was just wild.
Big
Doesn't
growth,
sound
yeah.
like a lot of people,
No, it
but
is.
like
Yeah,
having
no.
basically nobody chatting to then now so many people chatting.
Yeah. Well, think
They're
about
like-
90 people sitting in a room watching you too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they're all
I-
chatting. There's
you
like,
know.
where's your Discord? Where's your emotes? Where's all this? I was like, I don't even know what
You
that
said,
is.
great question.
Like, I've only
I'll get
just,
back to you.
It's
I've only just
coming
started.
next episode.
Yeah. Then all these people like chiming in. I'll be your mod. I'll set up this all for you. I was like, please, because I've
Yeah.
got work
cool.
tomorrow.
Oh.
You know, like so.
So you were still working at Twitch
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you started
yeah,
streaming,
yeah.
and then you were posting on TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you drove it.
I
That
did
makes
this. Fast forward, I burnt out because I was streaming like 25, 30 hours a week on
Oh,
my
my.
job.
Oh wow.
Like,
On top of your job. On top of your full-time
Get
job.
home, stream every day.
Wow.
Saturdays I'll stream usually for about 10, 12 hours just for fun, you know. We just vibing with my community, you know, we have fun. So playing Warzone, you know, and then Sunday I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's just do it again. So it's not a good strategy, streaming that much. I burnt out, reevaluated what I wanted to do. It was still to create content always. Like I was still very driven to, I guess, make it a career. Streaming was the first time I'd made any money from creating content, and that I guess drove me a little bit to like find what would work for me.
Yeah.
I then started a podcast. Definitely wouldn't recommend that either.
Oh really? Was it your favorite either?
No, like one man podcast, like
Mm.
sourcing people, you know, preparing, doing it, editing. I'm like
Oh, as one person.
one
that's
Yeah,
person.
so
that's
I'm
much.
crazy.
like
Yeah,
when
that would be
when
crazy.
people ask me, Ben, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, don't,
Yeah.
because also platforms are just not built for podcast distribution. Like the video, like YouTube. You do a podcast like this. I remember podcast.
Podcast.
Not a
Podcast.
Not a
podcast.
podcast.
We're a
Podcast. If you
podcast.
do a
We're a
podcast-
podcast here.
They just it's really hard to get traction on YouTube with podcasts, like of any kind, because they're long, and unless you have somebody on the thumbnail that everybody knows, like or generally, like they just don't get traction. And everybody has this like the same mindset that I had. Well, I'm interviewing really valuable people that have really like deep knowledge and insights in this specific thing. In my case, it was streamers, but nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
And so you don't drive clicks, you don't get attention, and it's really hard to grow. And then so I'm spending 20, 25 hours maybe a week doing all of the, you know, planning, pre-production, post-production, to then get like not much traction on YouTube. And I was like, is this the best use of my time if my goal is growth and full-time content creation? No, it's not. Like another format would be better.
Yeah.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
then, what were the levers that you found successful in order to continue to grow your content base and people who were engaging? What was it that made the difference for you?
Short form, really.
Short
Because
form,
short
okay.
form was just like, this was 3-4 years ago where like short form was kind of still in its relative infancy after sort of Vine, but TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Shout out Vine.
Yeah.
Miss you.
Like
The real ones know.
Yeah.
The real ones get
When
it.
I started posting on Instagram Fitness, Reels didn't exist.
Right.
You know, like it was impossible to grow there just with photos and videos. But then TikTok, because I'd in the gaming world, TikTok, like as I mentioned, you need a funnel to grow on Twitch. So lots of gamers post on TikTok. Which that was kind of my experience into TikTok like 3 or 4 years ago. That there actually is quite a lot of different types of content being posted on there for many reasons, and kind of that's what I was doing for the podcast. But then I stopped the podcast and then just slowly started pivoting into streaming education, how to grow, how to set up live streams, audio, just seeing what people wanted. I wanted to do more strategy. I wanted to do more mindset, like talk about my story with burning out and being better at allocating time for different things. Unfortunately, nobody listens to that advice. But when I would do like a plugin that would put a load of like fairy dust over the screen in OBS, that does really well.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this isn't getting.
It's not what I wanted.
No, this is not getting you towards your goal of a
Right.
full-time streamer. This is just like bells and whistles.
Mm-hmm.
But then the bells and whistles were just the stuff that started to do really well. I started doing more tutorials on OBS, like setting up live streaming from audio channels to technical stuff, because it can be quite daunting setting up live streaming from a hardware and software perspective.
Just the interfaces.
There's just lots to learn, really.
You said OBS. I said, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I still haven't learned
We
that.
can't talk about it.
Oh yeah, when I use OBS to like just do my recordings most days. And
We use it here as well, I'm pretty sure.
whenever I open it up to somebody who's never seen it there before, they're like, what is
That's
that?
me.
Oh, yeah, what is that? That looks complicated.
I'm sure,
Yeah. And then I started doing more stuff on that. And then I kind of wanted to niche out a bit, because the streaming education space was just quite niche. Even though streaming is massive, actually the education space is not that massive. So I wanted to expand out, and naturally it was editing tutorials. I had built a core audience of now streamers. I think on TikTok it was about 50,000 on TikTok, and I knew from playing Warzone that most of the people were editing on Premiere Pro. CapCut didn't exist then, which again is probably hard to believe for some people. But DaVinci Resolve was not really as prominent in the space. Premiere Pro was the main software that people were using. It's something that I'd been using for a couple of years now. So I started doing Premiere Pro tutorials, and they started doing really well, like really, really well, which I kind of was not sure, but then also not surprised.
Yeah.
And
Sorry to interrupt you. At this point, were you like targeting that gaming community still, or was it a lot of video creators? Like,
now we're just video creators.
Now just video
I was
creators.
literally doing like
Education
tutorials
for-
on
okay.
how to use Premiere Pro.
Got
like
it.
How to do keyframing, on how
Yeah.
to like
the daunting things.
extend.
that-
Basically
yes.
looking at like the sort of things within Premiere Pro and just little tips and tricks, basically.
Yeah.
Fairly basic stuff, but actually stuff that lots of people just didn't know.
That's what people I feel like are on YouTube for. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
how do I do
How
this?
do
Or
I-
like, what's
yeah.
the faster way
Oh,
to
yeah.
be doing this? Which I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And this is jumping ahead a little bit, but like in Premiere Pro, obviously it's grown a lot over the years. Are you currently still making content that's like, these are the new things in Premiere Pro and this is how you would use them? Or like what changes have you seen in Premiere that you're like, oh wow, this wasn't around when I first started making these tutorials and I'm so excited to like talk about this now. It's saving me time or something like that.
I think, some of the, I'm going to have to cast my mind back to the feature updates. I like the one where...
Yeah, sorry, I asked a really detailed technical
Yeah.
question
You're
on
like,
that. I was
what
like, so
happened
what
in
are
May
you
of
doing?
2024?
Give me
That
the
lunch.
timeline of the updates.
Yeah.
It's okay. You could just talk about something that was like, notable for you. Like, oh, actually,
the transcript captioning. I don't know
Ooh.
when that
Yes.
was, but
because
there
you were doing it
wasn't.
manually.
Is that what you were
before?
doing? Like you were manual, or are you having to pull
I've
from
opened
other?
Premiere Pro maybe 4 or 5 times in my
Right.
life.
We
I'm
are
not
the
sure about
wrong-
you.
yeah,
So
no,
tell
we
us
are the
more about
wrong people
transcript.
to-
It's just captioning, but there wasn't
Right.
a captioning tool within Premiere Pro.
So you're
for
doing
a
it
while.
manually or like with another program?
Yeah, another
or-
program. Yeah, I
and
can't
bringing
remember
it
this was
together.
about a year or 2 years ago.
Oh, that's recent though.
but
Yeah.
like it wasn't It didn't exist. It didn't exist in any of the other programs either.
Huh.
And people were just starting to build like third-party applications to
do that. Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
the captioning, which is
Those
annoying.
random little apps on the App Store, which we
Yeah.
appreciate and love, and there's a space for. However, it's nice if it's all in
There
one.
shouldn't be a space for them because
I'm not downloading plugins. I'm like, just put it in the program. I
Just
don't
put it
want
in the program. Yeah, no, you're like, why doesn't it? It should
Yeah.
just exist in it.
Yeah, and so I still am using Premiere Pro today. I think, lots of my audience are. I always find it very interesting about like mobile users and desktop users. Essentially, a lot of my audience is still mobile users, and I try and convince them to move over to desktop and use a more professional editing program.
That surprises me. I feel like
What?
it surprises me that a lot of video creators. I mean, I know for the mobility of having
Yeah.
it on your phone, but for like editing, I feel like I don't know. Maybe that just makes me sound like old, I guess. But having a screen, I feel
Having
like
a
would be-
screen is
yeah,
just
I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Editing a whole video on your phone feels like that could be hard.
I mean, I feel like you could speak
But-
to this a little bit more clearly, but I feel like it depends at what point you start interacting with a product. Like if your first experience is like, oh, I'm only using, or if you're more in that creator space and you're not necessarily starting on the desktop space to begin with, I feel like maybe that's the through line there for people.
That's like accessibility, too.
Right,
That's
like-
true. That's true.
Yeah, I think not everybody I think has a laptop or a laptop or PC that they feel like could run an editing program because they do.
That's true. I guess editing, if you're dealing with footage too, you need
You
a
need a-
you need a powerful.
you do, to
Yeah,
be
I
fair.
didn't
Only,
even
you
think.
know?
Yeah,
you
I
need
didn't think
you
about
need
that.
a Mac usually
Mhm.
most of the time or quite a high spec Windows
Mm.
laptop. And so I'm trying to convince my audience to come over. It's just quicker. It's just you get the extra screen because the common thing that happens when people start making video content. Yeah, this comment all the time from audiences. They underestimate how long stuff takes.
Mm.
Oh, video is
You-
extensive.
You are editing for 3 hours, and it still looks awful. Like if you're a beginner, and I'll spend 4 or 5 hours maybe doing an edit, and I'm like, what have I even done? Like, why does it look like I've done nothing? And I know lots of people when they begin feel this pain of like, a lot of people hate editing. I don't. I really like editing, and I'm glad
Getting in the
because
weeds of it. Yeah.
I make content.
Yeah.
It would probably help if I like editing because
Imagine.
that's most of what I spend time doing. You can outsource it, of course, but when you begin, you don't have that luxury of outsourcing it. I think it's a good skill to learn. I think it's still a bottleneck in the space at the moment with regards to AI, which we could maybe touch on later on, because there are lots of AI tools coming out trying to speed up the editing process, but actually there's so many parts of the editing process that just require a lot more nuance and tasteful decisions.
We are getting some editing haters in the comments being like,
I was
I
gonna
hate
say,
editing.
how's chat? How's chat doing? We haven't checked in with chat briefly here.
No. First of all, Mike says he loves your haircut, Ben, which is imperative to this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you,
starting
Mike.
off strong. Thank
We're
you,
starting
chat.
off strong.
All the love.
Yeah, no, a little bit of chatter about editing. Jacob did, this is backtracking a little bit, and then maybe we can, move to the next topic. But as someone who grew unbelievably quick on TikTok and burnt out quick, what do you feel like you focus on the most right now? So that's maybe bringing us to the
that's a good
present a little
question.
bit, but
yeah. No, I like answering questions like this because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't think about it until it happens, and then you're like, oh, like.
burnout's real.
I think
So.
I talk a lot to my audience about just really continuing to reevaluate how you spend your time and doing what. Like, if you're working a 9 to 5 and content creation is your side gig that's hopefully going to be your main gig one day, like you don't have a huge amount of time. Maybe have 20 hours a week, maybe have 10 depending on life circumstance. And I think it's just making sure you're spending the right time on the right things that are going to move you towards your goal and progress you towards that. And I think burnout happens when you work a lot and make not much progress. Like, because that progress is usually the thing that I find keeps you going. And I burnt out because I stopped getting progress, but yet I was putting the same amount of hours in. Still putting 25 hours in. My growth slowed because I was too stuck in doing the same thing all the time without stepping back and saying, is what I'm doing the right thing? Or am I just living too much in the moment and just like winging it and not having my strategy? So I like to just say to people, just every month, just sit back and just write down how long you spend coming up with ideas,
Evaluate.
creating content, streaming, like what are you doing? And are you spending too much time doing one thing or too little time coming up with ideas or researching? Because we all want growth and progress in the thing that we're sort of putting work into, and maybe making some sacrifices in the areas of our life in order to, I say the grind, but like hustle culture, like it's hard. It's really hard not getting progress when you put in a lot of work to something. It's frustrating.
What adjustments do you make when you take that step back and you're like, okay, I'm not making progress. I'm evaluating my hours and I'm seeing where things are going. What's your next step to either direct yourself forward or make a big change?
Usually, again, just evaluating the time I spend on stuff and just thinking about what's working, what's not working. Where do I think there's untapped potential for more growth?
Okay.
When it comes to me now specifically, like I'm across all platforms. So usually it comes down to evaluating how much time I'm spending on content for each platform. What is my standard of content on that platform? And do I think there's more exponential room for growth of that? My short form accounts are very much in a maintenance phase at the moment. I think I'd have diminishing returns if I put more effort in. Because my growth there has been good and I'm going through quite a slow growth phase at the moment. Whereas like YouTube, LinkedIn, X and Threads, my accounts are smaller, but there's more room for growth there. And so I look at that like actually I should be spending more time on leveling the content up there because I'll get more growth, I'll get more opportunities. And it's easier said than done because then you just go back to your normal habits. That's why I say to just keep reevaluating to try and then shift habits over time.
I do have a question for people who are trying to like grow those spaces and grow their accounts and maybe landing their first content deals or trying to decipher, what is the right deal for me to engage with. What has been your metric for that? And what kind of advice would you give for someone in that space?
So like brand deals, right?
Yeah.
Brand partnerships. Yeah. I love talking about this because not many people talk about it. I feel like it's because a lot of creators that do a lot of brand deals aren't creators like me. So they just don't create content that facilitates them talking about how they do partnerships, whereas I can. So I usually look at partnerships and brand deals in sort of a number of different ways. Everyone is different. It has to be evaluated in a different way. Usually who the brand is, what they're asking me to promote product or service wise, how much they're willing to pay. Do I use the product or service? Does it resonate with me? Does it resonate with the audience? The brand, what's the any intangible value being associated with that brand, or do people know the brand or do they not know the brand? And sometimes they're not like the difficult thing is that not all brand deals tick all the boxes.
Right.
In a perfect world, dream brand to work with. I use them. My audiences use them. Perfect fit. Pay really well.
Budget's there.
Budget's
right.
there.
The sun is shining.
Perfect, right. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. It's not the case for 99% of the time. And so, which is why often you see creators promoting stuff that's very different than their usual content, usually because of the money. But then if they don't have the money, you then have to evaluate whether or not like actually, or what is the value here? If nobody knows who the brand is, it's not the right audience fit, and they're not really willing to pay that much. Like,
is it worth it?
I don't think it's worth it because you're potentially, damaging some of the trust from your audience because they are like, why are you promoting this? Well, they know why you're promoting it. They know exactly why you're promoting it because they've offered you some money. And this is the challenging thing that a lot of creators go through because, and I've been through this stage to some degree. I've said yes to things I probably shouldn't have said yes to, but I was drawn in by the cash, of course. Because during my period of where I was transitioning from my full-time job to being a full-time creator, I was obviously under pressurizing myself to earn enough money to forecast me to be able to quit my job. I felt like I still did a good job at staying true to who I was because I've just always had this very I just want people to trust my opinions and my content, and I know that any brand deal that isn't like aligned damages that to some degree. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. It's a tricky one because brands know that there are lots of creators coming into the ecosystem with not much experience in doing brand deals, and they take advantage of that through their budget that they offer. And everyone likes free stuff as well. So brands are like, oh, we'll send you some free stuff. And because I get asked about this by my audience a lot, what's your opinion on the free gift, like gifting for videos, basically? I'm like, if you're not going to use the product, the answer is no. There's like, I know getting like a nice shiny thing for free is great. Like, we're all humans, we go to, conferences and trade shows, and all we care about is the free stuff, like when it's, I don't need another pen. But if you're accepting a free gift that you're ultimately not going to use, you have to ask yourself, what is the value back to me? If the brand is really, really well known, firstly, they shouldn't be doing that anyway, in my opinion, because, apparently they've got this corporate ethics policy and that, but yeah, they're asking for free labor, but different. Yeah, but I just don't like it when companies do that.
Yeah.
But like, there is sometimes value in working with a larger company with a logo that, like, if there's an opportunity for free gifting or longer term partnerships, etc. But if it's a free gifting and you don't know who they are, you're not going to use the product, then
Not in alignment.
it doesn't seem.
Yeah.
Perhaps if the brand is not very well known, but you are going to use the product, well, then there's some value there because maybe you would actually buy it yourself. So but then at the same time, if the product is only worth $100, then you have to evaluate your time, which people forget. The distribution, they're paying for distribution, but then people don't account for the fact that, well, all of the video making and that might take 10 hours, and so that's $10 an hour. And I'm like, well, that doesn't sound too great now, does it? And that's not even counting the distribution that technically has value to it as well. And so creators are usually scared to push back. I think they're scared for the brand to just find somebody else, because if you say no, somebody else will say yes. I found in my experience that pushing back and just standing your ground and knowing your worth and value actually gets you what you want quite a lot of the times, or enough to make all of the, like, it worth it for all the no's that you get. Because actually you push back, you ask for a rate or something else, and then they usually, the worst they can say is no.
It's true.
Well, the worst thing is that they just ignore you. And they don't.
They say nothing.
They say nothing, which usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they'll come back and say, sorry, we don't have the budget for that, or this is our budget. And then you can go through some rounds of negotiation.
Most people, humans.
Yeah,
it's a conversation. That makes sense.
I think a lot of creators just don't have. I never had the experience of negotiation from when I come into being a creator. I've never done sales. I don't know how to negotiate with brands. I've just learned over time how to do it, which has been an invaluable skill, because now, like, I just had a large brand come into my inbox with a large amount of asks, and I pushed back with a rate, and they came back with a very, very different rate to mine. And I went, do you know what? I don't care. If you want to work with me, this is my price, right? And we negotiated and we landed on a figure that was more towards what I wanted originally, what they said that they had. Because I had the confidence in myself and my value, and wasn't scared of the fact that they're a big brand and they might walk away. I said, because there's plenty more fish in the sea, to be honest.
Yeah.
One thing I will actually add that I do before we move on, if a brand is asking for free, like a gifting deal, what I like to do is, if I do actually like the brand, but I feel like the value of the product doesn't accurately represent what I value my service at, I usually just do a bit of shopping. I go on their website and I just shop for all the products that I want. And I said, I'll do the video, but you can send me all of this.
That's really smart.
That is
This
smart,
works all the time,
Yeah.
I find. And it means that I now get a massive goodie bag of just like...
Well, and they have access to their products.
Yeah,
obviously,
I
so
find
that makes sense.
it's way easier for a brand manager to just approve basically free gifting than it is getting like cash or a budget that they actually don't have assigned to that campaign. And so,
Also, probably a more honest review too, because then it's like things that you actually wanted. So
yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. It's things that you actually want. So like I've done in the past where they've offered me $100 product, and I'll just go to the website and say, well, I'm usually $2,000 or $2,500, whatever, and I'll find $2,000 worth of product, and I'll say, I'll do the video, and I've never had pushback on that, because
That's awesome.
I want that product, I will organically promote it as well. And I think that's a fair trade.
Yeah.
That's something I would recommend to people doing, which not a lot of people do, but
Yeah.
it's had a high success rate with that.
Take note, chat, if you're
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
That is the key
Yeah.
right there.
You just got to be ballsy with it. You got to be just like confident, like, don't be afraid to just push back and
Yeah.
stand your ground.
I actually have a quick question with that. For reach, when you're like first starting, like let's say you have, I don't even know like the follower count, but like let's say you're like very early in your content creation career. Did you reach out to people? Did you, cold call, cold email? I don't even know what you would say
Yeah.
that is.
Outbounding, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
A little.
Yeah.
I did and didn't. Like, I think I was lucky in that I had like things just picked up very quickly for me, and I got inbounds. I was doing a little bit of outbounding. It's difficult outbounding. The way that I kind of tell people to do it, who are maybe in more competitive niches and aren't getting the inbounds that they want and want basically are smaller and need brands to know who they are. Because I think when you've got a smaller account, you're just in a larger pool of lots of other smaller accounts, and you're not easily as discoverable on like these influencer databases that brands use to find influencers. And so I usually say to make lists of brands that are your dream brands, large, medium, small size as well. See like if you can find other creators that are your aspirational creators and like who are their paid partnerships with.
Oh, go through that makes sense.
See like, okay, the bigger brands do work in my space, because not all big brands do a lot of influencer marketing. Sometimes it's actually hard to find. Like Adobe do a lot. Adobe do a lot more than most other brands. And then if you can find some medium and small ones, I usually recommend those because it's just easier to find the person who makes the decision. It's easier to find them on LinkedIn. It's easier to maybe they actually manage the social media account because they're managing influencer marketing and they're managing social media. Because in the smaller companies, they don't appreciate that like they're two different jobs. And so then if you sometimes just DMing the Instagram account will work.
Oh yeah.
Like it's actually surprising that the person will pick it up and they'll either take it on or they'll pass it on to the person that does. Or like I said, LinkedIn, like Google search the brand and then like influencer marketer, or various ways that you can just search LinkedIn to find the person who's either the social media person or influencer marketing person, connect with them. I've been doing this for a year or so now, where you just connect with them. You don't need to DM them straight away. I prefer to just like see whether they accept me, and then I post on LinkedIn.
Into it.
Yeah, ease into it. I post a lot of my brand work on LinkedIn. I post just other videos on LinkedIn. This is like a video I made about this. This is why I think it's cool. Just like a portfolio builder, basically, hoping that these decision makers at brands that I found would see my content and go, "Oh, that's actually a really good fit for my brand." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's why I added you. Like, I know I'm a good
Do
fit.
you see it now?
Yeah,
See it.
I just need you to see it."
Help
And
me,
that's
help you.
a lot of creators are in this position. They just like they kind of expect brands to find them because they know they're the right fit, but actually it's just not quite simple like that. You need to actually go and just get your face in front of them, because I've seen creators and met creators with same size following, and you'll see that there is a monumental difference between the amount of work that somebody gets that's like hustling on the outbounding, that is doing the work, like finding the emails, cold emailing, just messaging. You have to be on top of it.
Yeah.
And like they will just get a lot more work than someone that just sort of sits there on their follower account and goes, while they just waits for inbounds. It's a competitive space. It's getting more competitive.
Yeah.
You can get brand deals at all sizes if you are the right fit, if your content is, I think, to a certain standard. Doesn't necessarily need to be high production value, just needs to be, I don't know, good. Like, good,
Yeah.
like likable from the brand, and there's like synergy there between, I don't know, your tone of voice, their tone of voice, just brand fit.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. People always say, post the work that you want to get. And I feel like that's kind of what you're saying, right? Of you need to be the right person in the sense of like, yes, this is an alignment for me, but also let me connect the dots for you and show you like, hey, this is a good partnership. And it makes that, a lot easier for the brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky in that I have just fallen into a content strategy that is very much, every video I make has product and services in. So when I moved from Premiere Pro tutorials, I then went to more like video resources, where music assets,
Smart.
like what goes into a video. And obviously all of these things are made by companies. And so then every video is me now promoting basically usually free stuff, because people like free stuff. So I'm going and finding where's the best free like video assets like on the internet.
That's awesome. That really does make you a resource, because people, you know, we don't have, you know, exuberant amount of money all the time. And so it's nice like that. I'm sure that grows your community too. Be like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to get you the free stuff. I'm here to do all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I sometimes meet people in person that know like my content, they're always like, oh, you've like found me so many stuff, like, because I'm just like the like free resources guy, where I'm just like, because I don't really know like what people are actually finding useful and valuable. I'll just make that decision myself based off of like my own judgment.
Yeah, what you would want.
But then I don't get comments saying, oh, Ben, like I actually just downloaded this. Like, but actually there probably is lots of people downloading it. I just don't really have that visibility. So it's nice to hear that, you know, that video I posted on this really niche like asset that I thought was cool, but it didn't actually do that well. Actually, there was actually people that was like, oh no, Ben, this is exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I feel like you're very up to date on all things that are like new and emerging, and AI is definitely part of that space. Do you want to give us kind of an overview of how you see AI in the creative landscape? And then we can even talk a little bit more specifically about video and how that relates to your work.
Yeah, the AI space is moving extremely fast. For somebody that is perceived to be sort of keeping up to date, like I am not keeping up to date. Like
there's so much.
It is
there
impossible
really is a lot
to keep up to date.
Yeah.
It's like every week there is just new updates to new models, just different versions from key players, and then also just like new players coming into the space. Sometimes updates are substantial, sometimes they're not. Sometimes an update has come from one company and then another company will basically make the same update. And there are all these names, like you've obviously got Adobe Firefly, you've then got the models within, like Runway, Luma. There's also other ones like Halua, WAN 2.2, C-Dance. There's all these names that you're like, what the hell is this? Like, these are all just like the names of the models by companies, from Adobe, Google. China are heavily going into this, like Alibaba, Tencent, ByteDance, owners of TikTok. Everybody, it's now an arms race to who can, I guess, build proprietary AI technology within their companies in order to build the best models that are used by consumers and probably enterprise as well. And there's just, it's like $1 trillion market. It's not slowing down. It will slow down, but we're just in such the infancy stage of what is basically the most revolutionary technology, like since the internet, since the light bulb. Like people just don't realize that
the magnitude.
No, people outside the AI bubble do not realize that this is about to change the life that we have very drastically, but over a 10, 20-year period probably. It's just hard for us to really envision what that looks like because we're at such the beginning stage. But the rate of development and involvement of AI across everything is just so fast. And with the amount of money that's going into it from all the tech companies, there's just no way that it will slow down until we probably reach some stumbling points where like there's talk of sort of AGI, artificial general intelligence, generally where AI can think and act for itself without the need of our input in order to make new decisions without any sort of data, which is what people are scared about. Because then if AI is in control of the systems, then how are we in control of anything? That's like this dystopian, like,
what's my place in the world?
Yeah.
It gets really existential.
You're like, what's my purpose?
Yeah. That's like, I mean, we don't have to think about that, but there are possibilities there.
Right.
Yeah.
Guardrails will probably start to have to come in place. More regulation. Regulation is a little bit behind, as with any new technology. They're playing catch up. Tech companies don't care about regulation too much because they just want to build the best models as fast as possible to make the most money. And regulations will slow them down, which, it's kind of exciting, but also very scary at the same time based off of my, experience with experimenting with a lot of different models over the last year and what I can do with relative ease, especially when it comes to replicating anything.
I am
yeah.
curious to hear more about how are you using AI just in general, and then also how are you using it specifically in your workflows and getting
Yeah.
things done for your business.
Yeah. So if you look at the general content creation workflow process, it's easier to kind of break down where AI can be implemented in to all of it. So we look at like creating content, I guess, or any sort of art form. It's like, idea phase, then like the planning, proper scripting phase, recording, the doing, and then I guess editing, post-production. So like, I guess the idea phase is AI tools heavily dominated like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all just LLMs where, you can put in your thoughts and generate ideas. Originally, sort of ChatGPT wasn't too great at giving feedback on ideas. I think it's very basic level. It's got a lot better. It's about giving context, about like people I think expect to get these like amazing results by putting in one sentence, and then they complain that it's generic. I'm like, well, it needs a little bit more than that. I'd recommend people to start building like these documents that has like, firstly like tone of voice, like sort of. I usually pull the transcripts from my YouTube videos and just fill those in a big Google Doc that is like, this is how I speak, and then also just creating documents that basically explain who I am and what I do. You can build like custom GPTs as well, where you feed this information, or Claude projects. And this just means that when I go to prompt, when I go to ask like, hey, I've got this idea, can you help me develop it? It kind of knows how I would do it in my own way. I like to use ChatGPT and Claude more as like, not to come up with my ideas, but to make my ideas better. Not to write my scripts, but to make my scripts better again.
As a tool.
Yes,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of debate online around, especially on threads around, you're not a writer if you use AI, and yeah, okay, fair. Like, I'm just using it I know how I write my scripts. Like I've been writing my own video scripts for a long time, and I prefer to write them. And if I'm happy with it, I won't even use AI to sort of make it better, because I'm like, that's how I would do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes if I might write a LinkedIn post, which might need to be a little bit more fine-tuned because it's a writing piece of content, I'll write it in my own tone of voice. Maybe just ask AI, do you have any thoughts or feedback on this? Anything? Can you just fix my grammar? Like anything that just doesn't sound right.
I am a big fix my grammar in
Yeah.
this paragraph user on it.
And then the big thing I always do is, and then I just read it out loud. I read out.
Oh,
I read it. I make some adjustments. I read it out loud, and I just ask myself, does that sound like me? I think that's a very easy question to answer. You know how you speak, and if you say out loud, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Does this feel right coming out of my mouth?
yeah,
No,
pretty
I'm gonna
much.
revisit
And
this.
if it doesn't, then I
Right.
just change it. Like,
Yeah.
and
It's a good way to humanize it. It's, like you said, it is a tool. And so.
And then once we've gone through that phase, I guess there's like planning, recording. I think at the actual doing recording is still, so this is where AI avatars come in. I guess that's the big AI tool that is replacing the videoing, which I don't know whether I like it or not.
Undecided.
I don't know whether I like it because I like being on camera, and I've learned the hard skills of talking on camera, which.
And so when you're just to clarify, when you're talking about the avatars, like where there's an avatar overlay of you.
Yeah, it's
or,
like a
okay,
custom
or you put
avatar
in-
that
okay,
is
okay.
you. Like,
That's gonna be in your Zoom meetings for
They-
you. It'll be
they
your
are
content.
Yes.
they are not far off from being
Like really
undistinguishable.
good. Yeah.
Yes,
Really
like
good.
within the next 2
Yeah.
years,
I believe it.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
2 years. Wow. I mean, I guess that makes sense. 2
Yeah,
years.
you've
That's
got
a long time
like
for tech.
HeyGen and Synthesia, and then you have just other companies that just pop up out of nowhere and have got a really good one. Again, there's a number of ones from China as well. And then we get to a point where, okay, once I've got my script that maybe was written by AI, depending on, how you do it, can now just be fed into an avatar. You could use 11 Labs as well to create like a professional voice. 11 Labs, I think what they're doing is great. They make really high quality stuff. And then now I don't have to be on camera. I can do that anywhere in the world. And I think what that is going to mean is that it personally reduces the barrier to entry when it comes to creating content. It means that there's going to be more people pushing out more content, increase in saturation across all niches. I think the talking head niches are obviously where there's going to be the biggest influx, like, educators who just sit at desks, like, and deliver information, like what I do. Even like on podcasts, like what we're doing now, like 3 people could just be replaced with avatars, and a podcast style script conversation could just be fed into these, and it could look completely real. That's quite scary, I think, to some people, because how do you know what's real and what's not? I think there's pressure on regulators and platforms to, it's not just, was this made by AI, tick the box? No, there has to be, people don't tick that. Like, there has to be watermarks. LinkedIn have actually just rolled out something, I think, a couple of days ago, where they are reading the metadata as to whether something has been ChatGPT'd, and there's a little logo in the corner.
Oh,
So
that kind of gives you.
there has to be digital watermarks, I think, on AI content going forward, especially when it's indistinguishable from reality, because then how are we ever going to know what's real and what's not?
I mean, that's a big initiative even at Adobe with the content credentials. I don't know if you're aware of that, with which is that watermark in the corner to see where is this generated or who does this belong to, I think is increasingly important in a digital age like this.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't really know what that means for content creators, if now you sort of, people can create content at ease, at scale.
Right.
But I think just like with any creative field, the bar for mediocre is here, and I think
there will always be
there will be another mediocre bar, and it will be up here, and the people that will stand out will be up here, which is always like, how do you raise the bar, right? It's always,
I feel like that's across the board too.
That's with any new technology.
Yeah, that's with any field, any space. I feel like you see that, people figure out how to distinguish themselves, and it'll be so interesting in like what that looks like in the next few years, especially with the accessibility of it all.
Yeah. I do have a question of what role you see Firefly playing in these things. I've heard that Firefly is more in conjunction with other Creative Cloud apps, but also are you having any unique use cases for it? And then what has it been like in your experience and workflows?
Yeah, I think Firefly is interesting, what Adobe are doing. I have lots of opinions on their company strategy because I'm such an advocate of Adobe, and I want them to win. I think they're in a very tricky position because they are a company that's built a community that of creatives, and there is obviously a divide in the AI, to use it or to not use it. And it's put Adobe in a very tricky position moving forward in terms of like building products. I think, and I've said this for a long time, is that Adobe's moat is their suite of products, Premiere, Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, After Effects. And for me, it's I would love for Adobe to start integrating AI into those things. They have started to do that with Photoshop and I don't know, a number of the different programs. And I think it's building utility. Like there's I think I posted on Reddit the other day, and a lot of people, I think there's a lot of backlash on generative AI. Actually, utility AI is not bad. So just making things quicker, and just using AI to, a simple example would be if I load my footage, Premiere Pro I know released this feature in beta. If I load all my footage into Premiere Pro, it can scan it and label it and tag it, and I can now find that shot with the lamp post in, right? Like utility AI like that is great, and I know that that's what the creative community is more in favor of because it's going to help speed up work. You could say generative AI also could help speed up work, but I guess there's this debate of Adobe stuff is commercially safe. Of course, that's the play they've gone for, but I think there's just a machine is making it. Like that's what I see as the common fight back is it's not real art. It's not got that human touch. It's just prompting. I think it's the involvement of technology has made generating stuff easier. The same as when photography was first introduced. There's lots of debates online around like the involvement of technology and how this could just compares to other. It's just getting easier and easier and easier. And I think this is seems like quite a leap in terms of stuff being easy to, I say create, I can't say create either because I say to generate. That also causes a lot of problems with you're not creating, you're generating.
Sure.
But yeah, Firefly has been very useful to me in sort of generating images, videos. I don't use AI too much in my workflows. I use it sort of where I think there's some B-roll that I want generated to showcase something that I'm saying in a slightly abstract way. I sometimes use AI voices. I sometimes use Adobe boards if I'm sort of mood boarding, stylizing. For the company I actually am using it more for a company I've just set up, which is a content studio, because now we're making content for brands, and so like my content is it's pigeonholed into a certain, it's not going to change. Whereas now we're creating content for brands.
For somebody
Like,
else.
oh my god, we need
it's
to storyboard. We need to like do this. Or I don't storyboard.
Color palettes and things involved.
I don't do that for my content because it's just all in
It's
my
all-
it's,
yeah,
it's all in my
yeah,
head.
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
in my head, and so
Sure.
I'm like, okay, now this I can actually see where the value is now
Sure.
because I can storyboard and sort of create these visual like palettes or visual identity of what like the vision is for, I guess, the editing style. That's kind of what I'm quite fussy about when it comes to video editing. Is I think that a lot of people there's not a huge amount of unique video editing styles. It's very copy and paste. Sure, it's like that in every creative field where there are certain styles and people just copy them, but not many people are good at coming up with their own unique style. And in video editing, it's the same. Like there'll be someone will come up with a new style, and everyone. So I like using sort of AI to help me think about the visual palette in terms of backgrounds, typography, lines, just colors looking together, like based off of the brand. Is it like a tech brand or more of a lighthearted lifestyle brand? And how does that, like, how can I use AI to just visualize like softness, hardness, like synergy between everything to then give that to an editor who isn't a graphic designer. They're not a storyboarder. They are an editor. They know how to use the programs. And I've found that actually having this layer in the middle where I can say, here, these are the colors, these are the styles. Like you go now design assets based off of this, and they do a lot better job at keeping sort of the editing style like incoherence.
On brand.
Yeah, because not every brand has like a brand guidelines, or they do, but sometimes they're not very good. Like there's just not enough. There's just not enough in there. Okay,
Yeah.
this
You
is
know
our
who you are.
typography.
Yeah.
This is our typography, and this is our colors.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, but like, what
But
about
what
like
does this
visual
mean?
assets? Like
Yeah.
just some.
Are the photos moody? Are they? Yeah.
some
are
shapes
you bright?
or
Are
something.
You
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where I found that like boards and Fireflies coming really helpful to just easily generate stuff to give to the editors for them to be able to like
Go with.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, you guys, I feel like we could keep talking actually forever about this, but we were actually at time for today.
Oh, yeah.
So,
No way.
Ben, where can people find you online?
Just on Ben Kaluza,
Okay.
at Ben Kaluza, BenKaluza. Pretty much everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, my main short form platforms, my YouTube channel also. I post my shorts, but long form is a little bit of everything. It's more just like me. I just create whatever on there. There's no. I don't put views. Like in
Ben said, I
performance.
pick and choose what I'm on. And then he said, I'm on everything.
Yeah. And some people say in my comments are like, Ben, you keep changing everything. You can't do this. I'm like,
I can.
And
Though.
you're
Oh.
like, I'm in charge.
look at the channel name. I believe that's
So it's
mine.
mine.
Yeah. That is not the best way to grow a YouTube channel, but it's my place to creative freedom, because I pigeonhole myself on my short form channels, which doesn't allow me. I don't create whatever I want to create. So YouTube is a nice place. I also post on LinkedIn a little bit now, trying to grow on X and Threads a little bit. It's very hard being everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. Nail one platform on one format, either like short form video on TikTok and Instagram, or YouTube long form, or long writing on LinkedIn, or shorter writing on Threads and X, and then diversify out once you've mastered one.
Great advice.
Yeah,
well,
that
you
is great
guys,
advice.
make sure to tune in tomorrow. All three of us will be back tomorrow on Adobe Live. You can see Ben editing live and hear a little bit more about his workflow and what that looks like on the day-to-day. But thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank
It
you.
was so wonderful
For
to
sure.
have you here. And stick around if you're watching on YouTube or Behance, because Ryan, actually Ryan's not on File New today. Wade Acuff will be on File New today, but stick around. That is up next.